Have you ever caught a younger man's glance, only to feel it fade when you try to hold it? The world tells you to own your age, yet shames you for desiring someone younger. It's a trap that leaves you questioning your value. But what if the problem isn't your years? It's the subtle ways you shrink yourself over-explaining, over-giving, or hiding your vibrancy to seem safe. A younger man doesn't crave a younger version of you. He's captivated by a woman who stands unapologetically in her own power. Society's whispers are cruel. They praise your wisdom, but raise an eyebrow when you step outside the lines of convention. You're told to be proud of your experience, yet the moment you feel a spark with someone younger, the world questions your place. It's a quiet contradiction, a weight you carry in silence. You wonder if you're too much too seasoned, too steady, or perhaps not enough. So you adjust. You soften your edges, hide your age, or pour your energy into proving you're worthy. But every step you take to fit his world pulls you further from your own. And here's the unspoken truth. It's not your age that dims the spark. It's the moments you betray yourself when you trade authenticity for approval or wisdom for pretense. Carl Jung once said, "What we deny submits us." When you deny your own radiance, you send a signal, not of strength, but of doubt. A younger man doesn't seek a woman who mimics youth or bends to expectations. He's drawn to the fire of a woman who knows herself, who walks with the quiet certainty of someone who's faced her shadows and emerged whole. This journey isn't about chasing his gaze. It's about reclaiming yours. Because the moment you stop hiding, stop proving, and start embodying the woman you've become, something shifts. The air changes. His eyes linger, not because you tried, but because you stopped trying. And in that space, where your truth meets his, a connection begins to form, not forced, not begged for, but chosen. The world tells you a younger man wants youth-flawless skin, endless energy, a mirror of his own vitality. It's a myth, a lie woven into the fabric of a society that fears a woman's power when it defies time. You've felt it, haven't you? The sting of believing you must compete with younger women, that your worth is tied to how closely you can mimic their glow. But here's the hidden truth. A younger man isn't searching for a clone of himself. He's drawn to something deeper, something only a woman who's lived can offer: authenticity, depth, the kind of presence that doesn't need to shout to be heard. When you chase youth or shrink to fit his world, you dim the very light that pulls him closer. This isn't about age. It's about the signals you send when you doubt your own radiance. Carl Jung taught that what we deny in ourselves becomes our shadow, a silent force that shapes how others see us. When you hide your age, make self-deprecating jokes, or try to prove you're still young, you're not just betraying yourself, you're projecting a shadow of insecurity. And that shadow, not your years, is what pushes him away. A younger man doesn't want a woman who's trying to be someone else. He's captivated by one who embodies her truth, who carries her experience like a crown, not a burden. Think of the women who turn heads without trying. They're not the loudest or the youngest in the room. They're the ones who walk with quiet certainty, who laugh without apology, who speak from a place of knowing. That's what draws a younger man, not the absence of wrinkles, but the presence of a soul that's been shaped by fire and time. Yet so many women fall into the trap of believing they must erase their years to be desired. You try to dress younger, talk faster, or hide the stories etched into your heart. And in doing so, you lose the mystery, the depth, the very essence that makes you magnetic. Jung's concept of the shadow reveals why this happens. When you deny your age or your worth, you push those truths into the unconscious, where they fester as shame. That shame leaks out in subtle ways, over-explaining your choices, seeking his approval, or playing the caretaker to feel needed. You might think you're building a bridge to him, but you're building a wall. A younger man doesn't want a mother figure or a woman who's always available, always advising, always proving. He wants an equal, someone who challenges him with her presence, not her efforts. He's not looking for someone to complete him. He's drawn to a woman who's already whole. And here's where the truth sharpens. Attraction isn't about competing with younger women on their terms. It's about standing in a space only you can occupy. Your years aren't a disadvantage. They're your strength. They've taught you resilience, clarity, the kind of wisdom that cuts through noise. When you embrace that, you stop sending signals of doubt. You stop trying to impress with achievements or financial success, as if your worth lies in a resume. You stop over-complimenting him to win his favor, which only screams desperation. Instead, you let your presence speak, your laughter, your stories, the way you move through the world with hard-earned grace. These are what make you unforgettable. This truth is uncomfortable because it asks you to stop hiding. It demands you face the mirror and see not just the lines but the fire behind your eyes. Jung said, "What we deny submits us." When you deny your authenticity, you surrender your power. But when you claim it, something shifts. You become a woman who doesn't need to chase or prove. You become a sanctuary, a flame, a truth he can't ignore. And that's when he stops looking past you. That's when he sees you not as an older woman, but as a force, whole and radiant, who chooses him not out of need, but out of desire. The ache is quiet, but it's there, a gnawing doubt that creeps in when you catch your reflection and wonder if you're enough. You've felt it, haven't you? The moment you stand across from a younger man, his energy vibrant, his world unscarred, and you question whether your years make you less. Society's voice is loud, preaching that youth is the prize, that your wisdom is a consolation, not a crown. So you try to bridge the gap. You soften your edges, hide the lines etched by time, or pour your energy into proving you're still vibrant, still relevant. But each effort feels like a betrayal, a step away from the woman you fought to become. It's heavy, this weight of inauthenticity. You might slip into the role of caretaker, offering advice he didn't ask for, organizing his world as if he's a boy in need of guidance. You think it shows care, but it builds a wall, one that whispers mother instead of partner. Or perhaps you go the other way, chasing trends, dressing in clothes that feel foreign, or laughing louder to match his energy. You tell yourself it's to connect, but deep down, it's a plea for approval. And that plea, it's a wound you inflict on yourself. Every time you hide your age with a self-deprecating joke or shy away from mentioning a memory that dates you, you dim your own light. You feel it, the slow erosion of your truth, Carl Jung said. What we deny submits us. When you deny your years, your experience, your very essence, you surrender to a version of yourself that's smaller, less true. You might think you're adapting, but you're shrinking. You become the woman who's always available, texting back instantly, complimenting excessively, hoping he'll see your worth. But the more you give, the less he sees. because neediness, not age, is what repels. You've been there pouring your heart into someone who doesn't mirror your effort, wondering why your warmth feels like it's vanishing into a void. It's not because you're older, it's because you're not fully you. This struggle isn't just yours. It's a collective wound. Women are taught to fear their age, to see it as a fading of desire rather than a deepening of power. You've heard the whispers, "You're too picky," or "You should be grateful for any attention." They cut deep, making you question if you're asking for too much by wanting a love that sees you as whole. So you overcompensate. You try to impress with your career, your achievements, as if your worth lies in a list of accolades, or you suppress your playful side, your sensuality, fearing it's inappropriate for a woman of your years. You trade vibrancy for seriousness, thinking it makes you respectable, but it only makes you invisible. The pain of this is raw. You've lain awake at night, replaying moments where you felt unseen, wondering if you should have said less, done more, or been someone else entirely. You've felt the sting of rejection not because of who you are, but because of who you tried to be. It's exhausting, carrying this mask, pretending your age is a flaw to be hidden or a gap to be bridged. You've stood in rooms full of people, feeling like you're shouting into silence, your heart begging to be recognized for its depth, not its years. And when you try to control the connection, planning every step, offering unsolicited advice, or clinging too tightly, you kill the spontaneity that makes love breathe. Jung's wisdom cuts through this fog. What we deny submits us. Every time you hide your truth, you give power to the fear that you're not enough. You've felt the cost relationships that fizzle, connections that feel forced, moments where you walk away wondering what went wrong. It's not your age. It's the weight of inauthenticity, the burden of trying to be what you think he wants instead of who you are. But there's a spark beneath this struggle, a whisper of something stronger. It's the part of you that knows your years are not a flaw, but a fire. And when you listen to that whisper, when you stop denying your truth, the weight begins to lift. You start to see yourself not as society does, but as a woman whose soul is vast, whose presence is enough. It happens quietly, like a dawn breaking after a long night. You're standing in front of the mirror, not searching for flaws, but seeing the woman you've become. The lines on your face aren't marks of loss. They're maps of battles won, of laughter shared, of tears that taught you strength. You've spent years hiding, adjusting, trying to fit into a mold that never felt right. But in this moment, something shifts. You stop asking for permission to be you. You stop apologizing for your age, your wisdom, your fire. This is the awakening when you realize your worth isn't tied to a younger man's gaze, but to the truth pulsing in your own heart. This shift doesn't come with fanfare. It's born in the silence of a decision to stop chasing, to stop proving, to stop dimming your light. Maybe it was a night spent alone, not in loneliness but in clarity, where you chose yourself over the need to be chosen. Maybe it was a conversation where you didn't explain away your years or laugh off your desires. Instead, you spoke with the calm certainty of a woman who knows her value. Carl Jung called this individuation the process of becoming fully who you are, not who the world expects. It's the moment you integrate your shadows, those doubts and fears you once pushed away, and step into wholeness. You begin to see your age not as a barrier, but as a bridge. Your years have carved depth into your soul, a richness that no fleeting trend can match. You stop playing the caretaker, no longer offering advice to fix a younger man's world. You let him come to you as an equal, not a project. You stop hiding your sensuality, that playful spark that dances in your eyes when you laugh without restraint. You wear what feels like you, not what mimics youth. You share your stories not to impress, but because they're yours, etched in the truth of a life fully lived. And in this authenticity, you become magnetic, not because you tried, but because you stopped trying. Jung's teaching echoes here. Everything we face within eventually becomes our destiny. When you face the fear of being too much or not enough, you rewrite your story. You're no longer the woman who shrinks to fit his world. You're the one who stands tall, her presence a quiet storm that shifts the air around her. You notice it now the way a younger man lingers when you speak, not because you're chasing his approval, but because your truth commands attention. Your confidence, born from years of lessons, becomes a flame he can't look away from. This awakening isn't about rejecting love or building walls. It's about opening to a love that honors you, one that doesn't ask you to trade your essence for acceptance. You no longer obsess over looking younger or competing with women who haven't walked your path. You understand now. A younger man doesn't want a copy of what he already knows. He's drawn to the mystery of a woman who's faced her shadows and emerged whole, who carries her age like a sacred text, not a secret to be hidden. And in this moment, you feel it, the weight lifting, the clarity settling. You're not here to prove your worth to him. You're here to live it. Your laughter is freer, your gaze steadier, your heart unapologetic. You've crossed a threshold, not by changing who you are, but by embracing it. This is the turning point, where doubt becomes certainty, where fear becomes power. You're no longer asking if you're enough. You know you are. And that knowing, it changes everything, not just for you, but for the man who dares to meet you where you stand. She stands differently now, doesn't she? Not with the weight of doubt, but with a quiet power that fills the room without effort. This woman, once caught in the trap of proving her worth, has crossed into a new realm. She's not chasing youth or begging for a younger man's gaze. She's become whole, a force woven from her years, her scars, her laughter, her truth. Her presence doesn't demand attention. It commands it. And that's what makes her irresistible. Not the absence of flaws, but the courage to embrace them. This wholeness is her sanctuary. She no longer plays roles that don't fit neither the caretaker smoothing a younger man's chaos, nor the mimic of trends that feel foreign. She moves with the ease of someone who's faced her shadows and found peace within them. Carl Jung said, "Everything we face within eventually becomes our destiny." By facing her fears of aging, of being too much, of not fitting society's mold, she's shaped a destiny that radiates strength. She doesn't hide her age. She wears it like armor, polished by the battles she's won. Her stories, once tucked away to seem relevant, now spill freely, each one a spark that lights up her eyes. She's learned to balance wisdom with playfulness, depth with lightness. She doesn't suppress her sensuality, that wild, untamed spark that dances when she laughs or lingers in a glance. It's not forced or performative, it's real. Rooted in a body and soul she's come to love. A younger man doesn't see her years as a barrier. He sees a woman who knows herself, who offers not just love, but a mirror to his own potential. She doesn't try to control the connection, dictating its pace or filling silences with advice. She lets it breathe, lets him choose her, not out of need, but from desire. Her confidence isn't loud, it's a quiet flame, steady and unapologetic. This woman doesn't compete with younger women, chasing fleeting trends or erasing her past. She knows her value lies in what no one else can offer: the depth of a life fully lived, the clarity of a heart that's been broken and rebuilt. She doesn't flaunt her achievements to impress, nor does she shower him with compliments to win favor. Her presence is enough her truth, her laughter, the way she moves through the world with grace earned through time. When she speaks, it's not to fill space, but to share something real. When she's silent, it's not absence, but a depth that invites him closer. Jung's wisdom echoes in her transformation. What we deny submits us, by denying nothing: her age, her desires, her essence. She's freed herself from the chains of expectation. She's not here to complete a younger man or to be his savior. She's here to overflow, to share from a place of abundance, not lack. And that's what shifts the air around her. A younger man doesn't fall for her because she's perfect or young or safe. He falls for her because she's whole, because her authenticity challenges him to rise, to meet her not as a boy, but as a man. Her power lies in this: she chooses herself first. She doesn't need his validation to feel alive. Her heart beats with a rhythm forged in solitude and self-love, a cadence that draws him in without effort. She's not waiting for him to see her. She's already seen herself. And in that seeing, she's become a beacon, a woman whose light doesn't flicker, whose truth doesn't bend. She's not just desirable, she's unforgettable, a force that lingers in his soul long after she's left the room. You've felt it, haven't you? That quiet ache when you wonder if your years make you less, if your light has dimmed in a world that worships youth. But look closer, deep within. You're not just the sum of your age or the roles you've played. You're a tapestry of stories, of resilience, of a fire that's burned through storms and still glows. This journey isn't about a younger man's gaze, it's about the way you see yourself. When you stop hiding, stop chasing, stop bending to fit someone else's world, you become the woman you were always meant to be. And that woman, she's a force, a sanctuary, a truth that doesn't need permission to shine. You've carried the weight of doubt, maybe even shame, for daring to desire a connection that defies convention. You've heard the whispers, society's rules that say your worth fades with time. But those rules are lies, and deep down, you know it. You've tried to prove yourself, haven't you? Texting too quickly, laughing too loudly, or hiding your age behind careful words. You thought it would make you enough. But the truth is, you were always enough. The moment you let go of those masks, you step into a power that's been yours all along. Carl Jung said, "Everything we face within eventually becomes our destiny." Face yourself now, your years, your desires, your unapologetic heart. That's where your magnetism begins. You don't need to be younger, softer, or anything other than you. Stop trying to compete with women who haven't walked your path. Your strength isn't in mimicking youth, it's in owning the wisdom that only time can carve. You're not here to mother a younger man or to dazzle him with achievements. You're here to meet him as an equal, to share a spark that's born from your truth, not from effort. When you laugh without restraint, when you speak without fear, when you let your sensuality dance freely, you become a mirror, not for his ego, but for his soul. And that's what pulls him closer, not your striving, but your being. This is your awakening, isn't it? The moment you realize you don't need to chase love, you are love. You don't need to prove your worth. You embody it. Every scar, every lesson, every quiet night you chose yourself over approval has shaped you into a woman who radiates without trying. You're not too much or too little. You're whole, a flame that doesn't flicker for anyone's comfort. And if a younger man can't see that, it's not your loss, it's his. But deep down, you feel it. The ones who are ready will be drawn to your light, not because you changed for them, but because you refused to dim it. So pause now. Look at the woman you've become. She's not defined by society's rules or the doubts you once carried. She's defined by the courage to be herself, to love without losing herself, to choose without fear. You are that woman. And every time you choose authenticity over approval, you light a fire not just for yourself, but for every woman who's ever doubted her place. This is your truth, your power, your soul's quiet revolution, and it's only just begun. This journey isn't about winning a younger man's heart. It's about reclaiming your own. You've walked through the shadows of doubt, the weight of society's expectations, and the quiet ache of wondering if you're enough. But now you see it, don't you? Your worth isn't measured by his gaze or the years you carry. It's in the way you've woven your experiences into a tapestry of strength, wisdom, and unapologetic truth. You're not here to chase love, you're here to embody it, to let it flow from a heart that's learned to love itself first. And when you do, the right connections find you, drawn not to a mask but to the fire within. Carl Jung taught that true transformation happens when we integrate our shadows, when we stop denying our essence and start living it. You've done that. You've faced the fear of being too old or too much and chosen to stand in your power instead. That choice is your rebellion, your quiet revolution against a world that tries to dim your light. You're not just a woman with years, you're a woman with a soul that's vast, vibrant, alive. And that soul doesn't need to beg for love. It attracts it, effortlessly, because it's whole. So take this moment. Feel the spark of your own truth, the one that's been waiting for you to see it. You don't need to prove anything, not to him, not to the world, not to yourself. You are enough, exactly as you are. And if this story stirred something deep within you, if it reminded you of the woman you've always been, share it, not out of impulse, but out of resonance. Pass it to another woman who needs to remember her fire. Leave a comment, let your voice ripple. And if this speaks to your soul, subscribe. Because here, every word is a seed, every story a mirror, and every step a vow to never dim your light again.